Hello everybody. It's been a while since I have popped on Facebook Live, but thought I would come in with some information that's been coming up, just to, I get these impressions of things that I feel need a voice, and so that's what I'm doing here today. And the name of this Facebook Live that I posted is that we need to outgrow our history. And what is meant by that, what I mean by that when I say that, is what lies beneath our story, what lies beneath the pain, the suffering, is the soul. And in order for us to get to our soul self, we have to outgrow our history, which means we have to outgrow our story. We have to let go of our story, because as long as our story's in the way, then the personality is what's in charge. And what I find so profound about this is that in order for us to come into that soul self, we have to be able to produce this, we have to be able to replace the story with new growth. Because as long as the old story is there and there is no new growth, we're going to keep repeating the same scenarios in our life. And, a lot of my work that I do has to do with the soul self, the soul-centered mind, the soul-centered body, the soul-centered experience of life itself. And this is work that I didn't go out and seek. Actually, it sought me. And it was through the journey of my life experiences and my needing to find answers that I discovered this relationship to the soul that I never thought that I would have, and that I never thought that I'd be speaking about in these public ways that I do, or writing about them in articles or a book. And what I have found on this journey of the soul path is that it becomes a dedication, a way of life, a way in which it totally embodies all of who you are and who you've come here to be. And that in itself is the soul, right? Is the soul in the discovery of our soul self, in the inward journey, becomes everything, because it is everything. So we all have a story. We all have those voices in our head that are telling us what to do, what not to do, who we are, who we're not, who do we think we are. And when we allow those voices to be the overriding, echoing in our head, in our body, then that keeps us separate from ourself. That keeps us from tapping into our soul self, which is our really authentic self. At least that it is the authentic self as far as the human experience. I mean, who knows what happens in the other planes and levels of existences, in the other universes of consciousness. But in this consciousness, in the human experience, we're experiencing this relationship to our soul, our emotional body, and in that we journey in all the ways that we do. And one of the other things that comes up with this conversation is how the pressures that we put on ourselves to be spiritual, that we should not be making, mistakes or comments or judgments because we know better. And in those ways, we can be very, not only just hard on ourselves or feel like we never are in arrival of something. And so it can always feel like we're always seeking, and that there is never a place of fulfillment within us. And being in this human body and experiencing this earth plane existence, I believe it's just part of the nature of this universe that we're in. And so one of the things that came up today that I want to share on a call I was on with an amazing group of women was forgiveness. And this is something that's been in my space for the last couple of weeks, and it's forgiving ourselves daily. And at the end of our day, before we decide we're going to, shut down and go to sleep, is to forgive ourselves in all the ways in which we have acted, thought, judged, which we knew were not, we're not in integrity. And to just really be compassionate with ourselves, to say, I forgive myself. And the other part of this is that this doesn't mean that we negate that the next day we get up and we go ahead and, just be irresponsible with our voices and with our venom sometimes, in our thoughts and our feelings. And that at the end of the day we can just forgive them. But it means that then we become more aware of what we're saying as we move through each day, because that awareness then is awakened by the act of forgiveness in the evening. So I just want to offer this out to you. Number one is the prompt, the invitation of the forgiveness in the evening before you shut down, and reevaluating your day for just really a minute. It doesn't take very long. And then the other piece where I began is that we must outgrow our history so that we can get to what's underneath, which is the soul self. And we want to be able to replace that. And replace that is where we outgrow the history, where we heal the pain, and that we come to peace with whatever trespasses have been made, either against us, for us, with us, from us, and find healing in that, and understanding that there's the wisdom and growth and learning for each of us. And that when we carry and walk with our wound, even though we may not realize that it's being seen, it is being seen, and then that wound carries a lot of weight, and the reflection that we are carrying creates the patterns of our relationships and the cycles that we can't get ourselves out of, and we feel stuck, and then we're in what the Buddhists call samsara. We're in suffering. We're in this never-ending cycle. So my hope is that this conversation that I have presented here today gives you some food for thought and maybe some insights into your journey, and maybe inspires something in you that takes you on a road or in a direction that is new and different, and can bring some fulfillment, some opening, some vulnerability, some healing, some freedom in your life. Namaste.